Who's it going to be then? That leaves us with 5 backbenchers, 2 industrialists, and Prescott.
And yourself.
Sounds like a field for the Grand National.
And not one of them will make as good a Minister of State as old Caswell.
It's a bit late for that. He's dead. Besides, half these deadbeats will never make the course, and the rest will get nobbled.
Yes, in with the dope tests, I say.
What do you mean by that, Lincoln?
Well, for a start, you can rule out the 2 businessmen. Frame's had enough of commerce, so you can be sure he doesn't want to be Minister of State in our department. He's gone religious. He wants the Race Relations Board. His guilt. A greedy bastard made a fortune out of arms for Nigeria.
And Dawson?
Megalomania.
Isn't that an asset for a minister?
Not now. He's taken to screaming.
Screaming?
And twitching.
Twitching?
And kicking over tables.
You better take up fiction, Lincoln.
I'm telling you, last Monday he tipped over a table at La Belle Lane just because they'd run out of chocolate mousse. Then he made his driver go so fast they hit 2 taxis and a commissionaire in the West End.
Go on saying things like this about people, Lincoln. You find yourself up for slander.
Every word's true. Clearly twitching Dawson is out. We've had enough ministers in this country with big lungs, sharp tempers and outsized thirsts. No, Dawson doesn't look like a Minister of State.
Nor you, a Foreign Office civil servant. Though I like the way you're learning to speak out, instead of wrapping everything up you say, like so much diplomatic fish and chips.
Oh, thank you, Ambassador.
All right. Now you've demolished the prospects of our 2 leading tycoons. Perhaps you have some ideas about our other candidates.
You can rule out all those 5 MPs tipped by the pundits this morning.
Mrs. Lovell, MP.
Bunty's a pusher. She has talent, she's tough. She has one drawback.
Go on.
She's a woman.
Well, I hardly think that needs stating, considering her statistics.
Which she plays on. Can you imagine the tizzy she'd cause if she gave Sir Jayston Fowler the come on?
Our Deputy Under-Secretary wouldn't know the difference between a woman and a bound copy of Hansard. No. I want Mrs. Lovell as our next minister.
Oh, no.
What the hell do you mean by that?
Well, John, I know she's a sex pot, probably the hottest politician since Eva Perron. It's not like you to let a woman come between you and your work.
She's the only one of those that I can control.
Don't forget you're in the race yourself. Oh, very shrewd. You push Mrs. Lovell so that Prescott, our temporary minister, doesn't become permanent. Then, after a decent interval, you leave Mrs. Lovell in the ditch.
Oh, sounds like quite a damp romp.
Decent intervals are for civil servants like you, Lincoln. No. I want the job filled permanently by Mrs. Lovell.
And make you second favourite, Wilder.
Second?
Second.
Let's get this straight. I never join any political party. Certainly not for however brief and dazzling power in government. I have to remain independent.
Back to industry one day.
One day.
The big neutral. The untainted political virgin.
Lincoln, I do know a good analyst.
What do you mean, Lincoln? Are you thinking of joining me out there in the wilderness one day? If you do, consult me first. Out there, they spill real blood, not red ink.
Doesn't it bother you that whoever gets the job might get you out and appoint a new ambassador?
Prescott.
Oh, Prescott's got his own department, and that's given him an ulcer. He's only a tick-over appointment.
Which leaves us with my Mrs. Lovell.
No, someone quite else. Someone pacing himself from the rear like a quality Milo.
Go on, Lincoln. Who is this Olympian?
Garfield Kane, MP.
Who?
Garfield Kane, Mr. Instant Success himself. From deprived child to industrial consultant and member of Parliament in a few giant strides. A francophile, a socialite, and a bit of a lad with the women.
Yes, well, let's see what Who's Who has to say about him, shall we?
Very little, so far. He's at this moment at Le Gourmet Francais. Best French chef in London, of course. Lunching. With your wife.